Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter Bradley, and with me, as always, is Mario Miranda
What's up, guys?
and Connor Ryan.
Hey everyone.
This is a TV podcast here on Mild Fuzz. Every week we review a bunch of shows, and we also go through the week's TV news. If you listen to the audio version of the podcast, all the TV reviews will come at the end. And if you're watching on YouTube, this will be the news video. You can click in the links all the way throughout to get to the reviews of all the different shows that we did this week. Those shows for this week are 11/22/63, that's the Stephen King series from Hulu, episode 2 of Better Call Saul, the final of the X-Files miniseries, the newest episodes of iZombie, Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. It's worth noting that a few of those are going to be on hiatus for about a month. That's mainly the CW shows. So there will be a few shows less next week, but no, quite a meaty amount. So if you want to hear about any of those specifically, use the timestamps in the audio version or click on the links on the YouTube video. But let's get into the week's TV news, and there was a fair bit of interesting stuff, actually. First up, I think about 2 weeks ago, we talked about a trailer for Daredevil Season 2, which at the end of the trailer said, Part 2 of the trailer coming in a couple of weeks. So we got that trailer that focused mainly on Elektra and teased things like the hand coming to Season 2 of
Fucking
Daredevil.
ninjas going up the side of a wall. Fucking awesome.
You know, it's a damn good job I actually happened to watch this the other day. And remembered, because you did not remind us to watch this.
Because I knew you two would have watched this.
John, frankly, I almost forgot.
Well,
Because
that's...
I nearly forgot to watch it, so...
Well, honestly, if you hadn't, we'd have just made fun of you, and that'd have been fine too. So, it was a win-win. It was a win-win.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it looked very good, as did the first trailer. They both look solid. There's not much to say. It looked good. Anything you want to point out, Mario, other than ninjas going up the wall?
Yeah, it looks great. Electra teaming up with Daredevil. But that's interesting, because in the first trailer, we got a scene where Matt's touching Karen. Like, it looks like there's some interest there. But then clearly, in the second trailer, he's interested also in Electra. So, what's going to happen there? And are we going to lead to two famous scenes now with a certain other character and these two females? Is that coming this season?
I think I know what you're talking about.
There's been a lot of people... I've seen a lot of people speculating about that, judging from the end of this trailer.
Yeah, it was very interesting. But, yeah, so that's the Daredevil Season 2 trailer. Of course, remember that when it hits on March 18th, we will be recording our binge watch special review on Saturday the 19th, so it should be up very late Saturday or early Sunday that weekend. So we'll be getting that up pretty quick. So that'll be quite epic. So we're looking forward to that, let's say. And sticking with Marvel's Netflix stuff, we got big casting news this week. They've cast the role of Iron Fist, Danny Rand. I said that right? That's his name?
Yeah, Danny Rand.
There you go.
How many other ways can you say that?
I don't know, it could have been Rend or, like... I don't know, like, I've never read Iron Fist, okay?
But
It's not like Rand's a common name.
I don't know, you read the news article, and you see Rand, it's four letters. How many ways can you pronounce it?
It doesn't say Rand, it just says Iron Fist.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird.
It may say it further down, but right now I'm just looking at the headline. Alright, so give me peace. Jesus. Right, yeah, so Iron Fist has been cast. Finn Jones, who you may know from Game of Thrones, has been cast. And as much of Twitter and Tumblr and the rest of the internet has been pointing out this week, he is in fact white. Just in case you hadn't heard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy this week. A lot of people were hoping they'd cast an Asian actor. Mario, you've actually read the character. What's your thoughts on this casting and the controversy about him being white?
Well, I mean, people are saying that it's not part of his character that he's white or Asian, but it is, because the whole point of it is that he is an outsider. He doesn't fit in anywhere, because he is the chosen one to become the Iron Fist, which is a protector of the city. But the idea is that he's a white guy in an Asian city, but he's a protector, but they don't completely accept him because he's an outsider and he doesn't look like them. But then when he leaves there and comes back to our world, he doesn't fit in there either, because he's grown up in this culture. So he's always this kind of outsider. And he's trying to help the people and gain their acceptance, knowing fully well that because they feel the same way. Like, who is this white outsider becoming the hero of our city, but he's trying to earn that level and earn that trust and acceptance. So it is part of the character.
I think the argument from people who want him to be Asian, or at least partly, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be white to have that, because like even if you were like, say, I'm assuming this is Chinese, this Iron Fist legend,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So say it was a Japanese person, it would still have the outsider element.
My question is, why does it have to be the martial arts one that goes to be Asian? Like, why? Like you said, like this could have been a black guy, and you would still get the outsider thing
Yeah,
instead of a
exactly.
white
Could be
guy.
black,
But,
yeah.
but it feels like stereotyping another Asian into kung fu stuff feels just
That
as
is
damaging.
another- That's another way to look at it too. Why does this guy have to be Asian necessarily too? Like he could be Puerto Rican, he
Yeah.
could be
Yeah,
like Australian. It doesn't really matter where he's from. The whole point is he just doesn't fit into this culture that he's going into.
I think the idea of making him non-Asian, because the difference between like Chinese and Japanese is you might still be able to, you could blend visually.
Yeah,
Whereas
but I
it's
mean,
much more of a stark contrast if you're not the same race. So it's
yeah,
more
but
obvious that you're an
I
outsider.
think like the people around him who like see him training and stuff would be the ones that would have like a, you know, we don't accept you as part of this because you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
one of
Yeah,
us, so-
because he's supposed to train as when he's younger to be one of the people that even. So it's a bunch of people competing to even get a chance to potentially be Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And the way they look at him in the beginning is, we're not even expecting you to make it the whole way through, let alone be a contender in this. That's kind of the part of this
yeah,
when
it's
he's younger.
It's the underdog sort of mentality. Yeah, the big complaint I've seen from people who wanted an Asian actor is that they see this as being like a white savior sort of story complex kind of thing. Now you've actually read a fair bit of Iron Fist, Mario. Does he grow up to like save like Chinese people? Like does he save like their group or whatever?
Well, you end up finding out that because you guys both read the Green Arrow by Jeff Lemire and Jess Sorrentino.
Yeah.
So that is basically the same plot. He finds out that there is a tournament like Mortal Kombat where there's multiple mystical cities,
Right, okay.
and each one of them has their own representative, their own living weapon is what they're referred to as. And there's a tournament, and the winner of the tournament gets to be closer to Earth. So it's like, imagine a circle that rotates, and the one that's the closest to Earth gets to go to Earth. All the other ones are out of rotation. In order to be closest to Earth, you have to win the tournament.
Right, okay.
And so now there's a white guy representing their city, and that's kind of where that's happening, where they're saving them.
It's weird. It's a really complex thing because on the one hand, I kind of see where they're coming from and not wanting a white actor, but at the same time, I'm like, but you've kind of made your mind up in advance, and you're now pissed that they've not changed it. Like, I have no problem with a character who's whatever color being recast. Like, you know, I didn't care that there was a black Johnny Storm. It's not important to the character.
Yeah, that's because it makes no impact.
But like, you can still do the outsider thing with a variety of races. So, you know, this character could be black, he could be Hispanic, he could be whatever, right? You could pick, you know, any race on the planet, right? But I think the thing that bothers me about the outcry about this from the people who wanted an Asian actor is that they just decided this kind of in advance of them casting someone, and they're annoyed that it's not been changed from the comics, because in the comics he is white.
Yeah.
So
my thing here is he feels like he should be entitled. He should be like he has the idea that he could be an entitled white guy who's spoiled whatever, but he's not. And that's like the thing is, even if you do it with another minority, you still have every like all the minorities have to prove themselves, sort of thing. Like it's the same thing, like, in reality. Whereas the white guy is expected to be the entitled one.
yeah, because isn't he even at the start before he gets all this? He's like part of a rich family. He's like a pretty white boy.
Yeah,
kind of
so
thing.
like, and that's what I mentioned with like Green Arrow. It's like the same story, like literally. His dad created a Rand corporation who's rich, so he's coming from this family, and his dad actually tried to reach the city but failed, and so he's also been picking up on the legacy of his dad, both just not even from his culture and the culture he's kind of adopting. So yeah.
Oh well, I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a tough kind of issue to say here, and what side's right and what's wrong. And I kind of fall in this weird place in the middle because I'm not particularly attached to the character. So much to the point when people started like having this debate, like I wasn't even sure which race he was in the comics. At first, I thought they'd changed it. I thought he was Asian in the comics.
Well, if they changed it, that would be a whole different issue.
Yeah, but even then, that would potentially be okay, depending on if it mattered or not. Because like again, Johnny Storm being black doesn't matter. Nick Fury being black doesn't matter.
Yeah, and someone like T'Challa who represents an African country.
Yeah, if they made him white,
he needs to be black.
Yeah,
he needs to be African because he's from Africa. But even something like Captain America doesn't necessarily have to be white.
No, it doesn't.
No.
I mean, it would add a new sort of dimension to it because
it had the idea that he stands up for this country that in his time would have looked down on him.
Yeah, because it would be set in World War II. There's his origin, so at least back then things were a lot more racist. It would add like an extra dynamic to that, but that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. It wouldn't be against the character because the whole point of Cap at the start as well is he's this little scrawny guy that no one believes in.
Yeah, that's really the only part that defines who he is. And
so making him black, does that? No, if anything, it adds to it because people would be even more dismissive of him.
Yeah.
But in that time period, so.
But the point is like, so they could have easily cast a black guy to be Steve Rogers, and it wouldn't impact the character in any way. Like it wouldn't really change him. But imagine how much people would be upset about that. Which when it doesn't actually weigh into the character. Same thing with Peter Parker. There's literally nothing about Peter Parker that makes him white.
Even like Superman. Like
that's true.
Superman can be black. There's no reason why he couldn't be.
He's literally not from here.
I think the thing
exactly.
With Superman, maybe the only thing with him being black could be the lack of acceptance, depending on what time period his origin is.
Yeah,
because he's accepted because he looks like us, and he can fit in like so easily. Whereas if depending on the time period of his origin, if he's black, you have that issue.
If it's more modern, then he's like 30. Then he only came here 26 years ago or whatever. 25.
Yeah.
I think the only way it really makes a difference is if you're in a country where there's not a lot of a specific race, like say, I mean, it's different because, I mean, obviously they can just say, Metropolis has got a big black population, so it doesn't really matter, but like say it was set in the UK, right, where we're mostly white. There's a fair amount of Asians, and there's some black people, but there's not a lot. There's not entire communities like there are in the US.
We have a lot of Asians more than blacks. Yeah.
But even then, that's not like, the point is, I'm saying if there was a superhero in the UK, right?
Yeah.
And he wore like a mask, but you could see like half his face. Say like it was Batman, you could see the bottom half of his face.
Yeah.
If he was black, it would instantly narrow it down. It'd be like, say I went to the US, right, and I became a superhero, right? This is a weird example, but say I did, right? If I used my actual accent whilst being a superhero, that would narrow down considerably who I might be, right?
That's true.
In the US. But if I put on an American accent, then, it's harder to tell, because there's a lot of American accents. But even those are really specific examples, so it would have to be in a time period where it wasn't as common to have a certain race around or whatever. But for the most part, it doesn't matter. Superman could be black, he could be Asian.
Yeah.
I think going back to the topic though, I hope they the show's really good, and it just kind of shows why it is important that he is an outsider.
Yeah.
And that because the thing is, even this is actually racist. If he was Japanese, and that was the thing, I mean, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to tell. Like it wouldn't make much of an impact.
That's what I was getting at earlier, where I said how if the difference between like Chinese and Japanese, while obviously to people in the know there is a very distinct difference, to a lot of people over here, we generally can't tell that much, frankly. Like
I don't even think that's racist. Really?
No, it's not. I don't mean it as racist. I just mean
no. But Mario said that he thinks that may be racist. I don't think
it's a lot more. It's closer to being.
It's just uneducated because we don't see the difference.
No, but I mean, if I was standing next to an Australian person and you didn't hear us talk, you wouldn't fucking be able to tell that one was from the UK and one was from Australia.
The only time it gets racist is when people just assume you're Chinese or just refer to you as Chinese.
Yeah.
If you're all Chinese, like okay, that's now you're getting into racist territory.
Yeah, but I mean, like just from looks, like if you put two Asian people next to each other and said which one's from China, which one's from Japan, I wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't.
Like, and I don't think there's anything racist about that. It's just
Well, I think even like if you look at Americans and look at their English accents, to us there's a very wide range, and we can tell you whereabouts in the UK they're from. But the casual American audience, it seems that they'll be like, okay, it's an English accent. That's it. That's as vague as it gets. Whereas it's the same thing where we can narrow it down to Asia and like a certain area, but we can't narrow it down any further because we don't see enough of the differences because we don't know them well enough, essentially.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think we're all pretty excited. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully we can get our source to give some tidbits on when this may or may not be filming and or coming.
I mean, I'm excited as much as I can be excited without having like a connection to the character. You know, because it's a Marvel Netflix show, I'm expecting it to be good.
Yeah, he's excited just on the past precedents that have been set.
I mean, you've seen Daredevil, you get an idea of how they can do martial arts. I mean, if you read Green Arrow and you're familiar with Mortal Kombat, you pretty much get Iron Fist.
This is funny. It's a combination of Daredevil, Mortal Kombat, and Green Arrow. Very specific.
It is very specific.
I'm curious though if when I'm watching it, will I be in the mood to go back and watch Mortal Kombat, the movie?
You should never be in the mood to go back and watch that.
Pretty sure this will be superior to that. Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure though that I'm not going to get a classic line in this like I did in that movie where he says, "Those were $5 million sunglasses, asshole."
Don't know. There might be something in there.
$5 million. I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe they referenced that Mortal Kombat movie with the line.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Like, now what if saying, there's a tournament somewhere and they says like, what, in Netherrealm? Like, I mean, they could throw in a little line like that.
Yeah.
Like a little sarcastic line. Oh, yeah, that's badass. Alright, so that's the Iron Fist news. A little controversial on the internet, but let's hope either way it makes for a good show down the line. Alright, so let's move on to Star Trek, the new Star Trek show, which we know that Brian Fuller is showrunning. It's added Nicholas Meyer to the writing and producing staff, and why that's important, if you don't know who that is, he directed The Wrath of Khan. So for Star Trek fans, this is quite a big get. This is like, oh shit, this is like another big name behind this.
Feels like they're actually putting in some effort and actually care about what they're doing with the franchise.
It feels like they want to make this like, this is going to be like the sci-fi Game of Thrones.
I'll tell you what it is. It's, you know, where the film, like the latest films, they appeal to a general audience because they're not very Star Trekky, so to speak. Whereas this, by getting in the talent like that are more classic, they're trying to appeal to a more core audience, perhaps.
I think they are, but I think at the same time, they're getting these big names and they're trying to make sure this is a hit.
Yeah.
Because I think, when I compare it to Game of Thrones, I don't mean it's going to have the same like tone or the same, like, you know, adult content. I just mean like that caught on in a big way, where it's kind of hardcore fantasy, but it's still appealing to a lot of, you know, more casual folk. I think that's maybe what they want to do with Star Trek, is they want to take it and go, okay, this is for the hardcore audience, but it still appeals to everyone else, and it can still build that following. Where, much like Game of Thrones now, we'll have other TV shows referencing it. Which, I mean, it's Star Trek, so they'll probably reference Star Trek anyway from time to time, because it's a big, huge phenomenon that's been around for 50 goddamn years. But,
right.
You know, that kind of mythos to it where, you know, on Supergirl, like, you know, 5 episodes ago, they referenced Game of Thrones. In fact, last week they mentioned The Wire.
I did.
So,
they would have put it back in that class. Because I feel like it's kind of been forgotten about in that sense, where when people think of Star Trek, they think of a very specific thing. They don't think necessarily of quality.
Yeah. They know, beam me up, Scotty, set phasers to stun. They'll crack references like that, but they won't. Yeah. So this is good. This is cool. This is good news. Hopefully this leads to something great. I'm looking forward to this new Trek show. Hope it's good. Next up, Training Day pilot is cast one of the lead roles. Remember how we said it's going to flip the races, so that the sort of corrupt cop would be the older white guy, and the young cop would be the black guy. Well, the older white cop has been cast, and that's Bill Paxton. Which is the only reason why it's made the news, because I like Bill Paxton, so I wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
All of that casting news you skipped last week, and it's just like, nah, I like this one. I'm going to put this in.
Well,
typically, usually it'll be notable because it'll be a really famous person, or if it's someone I like, I'll put it in. So, I like Bill Paxton.
You're very biased on your choices.
I'm still not super interested in Training Day, honestly, but, I mean, I'm sure we'll cover the pilot anyway if it gets picked up for series, and this will be at least one positive get into it, but I'll be happy about it. So
there'll be something for you to enjoy.
Something. And speaking of casting in a reboot of an old movie, now this one's quite notable because Cruel Intentions has got Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, I did see this. I thought that there was. They very specifically said she's featuring in the pilot, though. Like,
No,
obviously...
It said more than that.
Oh, really? Before they were just saying the pilot.
No, you misread this, or you didn't. You skim read it like that.
No. When I saw it, it was specifically just the pilot that they kept referencing.
No. This specifically says, should the pilot get picked up, Gellar will be a series regular.
See, they didn't have that when I was looking.
No, it specifically says that she's going to be a regular, which means she'll be in the opening credits, she'll be in every episode, and not only that, on the call sheet for the pilot, she has top billing.
Makes sense.
She's
Put your big
first.
names first.
Exactly. I think the protagonist will still be the son of the Philippi character, but this means she will be a regular. She'll be on every episode if this gets picked up.
Yeah. The only other way they'd have done it, she'd have either been top billing or she'd have had the "and" slot.
Which she might still get in the credits, to be fair. That may still be how it's billed. Because sometimes that's seen as the important one, especially when it's like the legacy person.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I wasn't like a huge fan of the movie by any means. And again, this will be something we'll definitely cover the pilot when it hits, because we do pilots here to see if we like stuff. I think what this does though for this one is this gives some legitimacy to it for fans of the movie, because like, okay, they were saying it's the son of the character in the movie, but there's nothing really connecting it. Like, it feels kind of tacked on. Having her come back and be that character again, because she was probably the best part of that movie. Her being a complete bitch in that movie was probably the most fun.
Yeah,
thing
definitely.
In it. And maybe for her, this is like, this is a chance to go back and have some fun again and be evil.
And she's not doing that much at the minute anyway, is she?
Well, she was in that show with Robin Williams, but obviously his death
Yeah.
freed up her schedule a bit. So to say.
It's just Rebels is about the only other thing she's doing.
Yeah, that's just a bit of voice work. She's not even in that much.
Yeah, and even if she was a regular in that, she could easily do voice work at the weekends while she's filming this.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, if you're a fan of the movie, this gives it a bit more credence, I guess.
It does just make it feel a little bit more professional, even, rather than just a piece of fan art,
And
essentially.
it's more of a sequel instead of like just a soft reboot. I mean, it is kind of still a soft reboot, but it's more Force Awakens than, I don't know, a fresh remake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I doubt it'll be as good as The Force Awakens, but I mean,
It's a good analogy for this.
yeah. She'll be. No, I was going to, but even though I'm sure anyone who listens to podcasts has seen Star Wars by now, I won't spoil the movie with the reference I was about to make. So I'll stay away. Right, remember?
What if they did a reboot, of Buffy, with like her daughter or something?
I would like that more than a straight remake that recasts her. I'll say that.
Well, and just have her as like in there as the mum character. Like, show up.
In what example? Where it's Buffy's daughter as the main character?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fine, yeah. I'd give that a try, at least I wouldn't be angry at it.
Yeah.
Whereas a remake where it's just like, oh no, it's Buffy again, but with a different actress, that'd piss me off.
Kind of seems pointless.
Yeah, it does. It is pointless. So do you remember the DC Comics comedy that's coming out that we talked about when they picked up the pilot at NBC? Right. It's called Powerless, and it's an insurance firm, I think, was the place of work. I might be slightly off in what
I think this is the insurance one.
Yeah, but either way, it's an office company, right? They're in an office, and we've got a lot of casting for it this week. So we got two big bits of casting news. The first one was one of the lead roles is going to be Vanessa Hudgens, which feels completely out of left field.
Yeah, it's like, I don't have any feeling either way on her. I mean, she's fine. I don't have a problem with her, but I'm not attached to her
it's
either.
like she's known for High School Musical, and I don't think that's anything.
And then she did the Grease Live recently, didn't she?
Did she? Oh.
Yeah, I think she
in,
was pretty acclaimed for that.
What's the name of that movie? Crap. That
Sucker
shitty
Punch?
ass Sucker Punch. That's what it is.
Yeah, she was in that. I don't blame anyone in that movie for how awful it was, though.
Yeah, John Hamm was in that too.
Yeah, there was good actors in it. It was just, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's always been all right in what I've seen her in. She's never been a problem.
Yeah, like, she's always been in things that I just are not for me, right? So I have no opinion on her really, but I've never heard anyone say she's terrible and stuff. So, That's fine, but I don't think he's ever done a straight comedy like this before, so it's interesting in that respect. But to pair up with that, so we've got Vanessa Hudgens, but we also got other cast members. We got Christina Kirk, who I'm not familiar with. She's been cast in it. She's apparently from A to Z, and she's going to play Jackie, who is a fan of superheroes. She's plastered her office cubicle with beefcake shots of super guys. So I wonder if that'll have like cameo, like it'll be like shots of like
topless Superman, like
topless Superman and Aquaman. Like I don't know how that's going to work. I feel like if any of them will be allowed to reference everything, it'll be this one, just because it's not.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a comedy. It's like you're never going to see them. They're just you'll see them goofy on the news or whatever. Like
yeah, just have some fun with it.
So that's her character. That's Jackie. Danny Pudi from Community, who I like. He's going to play Teddy, who is the best friend to Emily, played by Hudgens, and her trusted confidant. He spends his days creating time-wasting pranks as a way to make their office the least super place on Earth.
This feels so much like The Office.
Yeah, it sounds like Jim doing that.
I'm so excited for this.
But yeah, so he tries to brighten the place up, basically. And then, here's a really exciting one. Alan Tudyk has been added to the cast. Interestingly, in the brackets this is Variety that I'm reading this from. In the brackets to say what they've been on before, it says Suburgatory. Which, to be fair, he was a semi-regular character on the sitcom Suburgatory. Kind of feels like there's some other things you could have put in there.
I mean, even avoiding the big obvious one, you could have been really relevant and talked about some of his past DC work.
Yeah. You could have even put Wreck-It Ralph, for example, or Dodgeball. There's lots of things you could have put in there.
Yeah.
A couple of different things by a certain TV creator, who will go unnamed.
So does that mean that if Castle gets cancelled, would Nathan Fillion possibly get on this show? Maybe.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Just get him in as a guest either way.
Oh, he could play Green Lantern, like on the news bits and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a couple of voiceover lines or something.
Or just him, but as a joke or something.
Yeah, he could just pop in. Yeah.
But even if you just hear like an interview.
No, but like it'd be cool. Like, it would be funny if they don't use any of the main characters, like the main Green Lanterns, but just have him be like this older Green Lantern that no one's heard of. Just make up a random Green Lantern, because there could be thousands of them.
Yeah, that's true.
You could just have been one of them.
Yeah.
So good.
So Alan Tudyk played Dell, Emily's new boss in the claims department. Dell has just been promoted, not through any merit of his own, but because he's the owner's son. He's a power-mad, disastrous dictator of a boss. That is going to be fun to watch Alan Tudyk do that.
I'm really like, in general, the premise of The Office meets DC Comics had me excited anyway, but now all of this sounds good.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I get a description for Hudgens' character that I've glossed over, because it was a different article, so I sort of skipped past it to the other one.
Yeah.
All their names. Yeah, Hudgens will play Emily Locke, an insurance claims adjuster who loves her job because she gets to help people. The character likes to fly under the radar and just gets her work done, and she finds herself increasingly exasperated by the disruptive antics of the various superheroes that proliferate her city. So, so she sounds like the sort of the straight-faced lead.
Yeah, a little generic perhaps, but
that's kind of the point with the straight-faced leads, isn't it? And
it
then the other three sound like the crazy power-mad boss, the prankster Pudi, and then the fan of superheroes, the fangirl, if you will.
Yeah.
So we're building a cast. I imagine there'll be another couple to get added to this, but I'm liking the sounds of it so far.
I'm definitely looking forward to this now.
It really just comes out of the writing. Is it funny? Because they've got a good cast.
It could be atrocious.
Like Tudyk and Pudi, I can vouch for and say they're going to be good. Like, they'll be fun. And
I've got no reason to doubt Hudgens, and I've not seen the other one.
Yeah, or Kirk. Yeah,
I've not seen her in anything. I don't think.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, no reason to dispel her. All right, now. Mario was always saying that he wants Castle to end so that it can free up Nathan Fillion. Now, this isn't going to free him up, but it will free up another. I'm going to have to mention him. But this is actually part of the news. This is actually.
Can't escape.
But this is going to free up another Joss Whedon alumni, and that is David Boreanaz, because Bones they've announced that Bones is going to get one more season of 12 episodes. It's season 12. Yeah, it's been on that long, which is shocking to me. It feels like it only started a few years ago. But I guess it's been on for over a decade.
Yes, that crossover with Sleepy Hollow didn't do much to boost its ratings.
It also crossed over with Family Guy, if I remember right.
What?
When?
Apparently,
Why?
the main character, I think it's his character, he hallucinates and he talks to Stewie from Family Guy. In an episode.
What the hell?
I know.
Jesus Christ, that show went off the rails, didn't it, at some point?
It did. Joe
Assuming it was on them to begin with.
what gets me about this, though? I don't really see and I've never watched it, to be fair, but I feel like this is more of a procedural sort of, like, show about these two people who solve crimes, right?
Yeah.
But it's getting like a final season of 12 episodes. To me, that sounds like something that, it happened with Fringe, it's happened with Chuck. It happens with shows that have, like, serialized elements where the fans will be pissed if there's not an ending. So they give them the 12 episode season or whatever to give an ending, to give them a conclusion. And this doesn't feel like the sort of show that would be crying out for that. But maybe there is more elements to that than...
Yeah, we don't watch it, so we can't really
Yeah.
vouch.
If anyone has been watching that long, maybe they want to see something.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Maybe just to wrap up character relationships, even.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they've been... Well, they won't, for, 11 years, so they're finally going to have them shack up. I don't know.
I think it already happened.
Probably, yeah, you're right. It probably happened by season 3.
It's been 11 years. It
Yeah.
must have happened.
They've probably got together and broken up about 10 times by this point, if they're on season 12. So, yeah, it's not a show we watch, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it's such a long-running show, and David Boreanaz is in it, and I could relate that to the Nathan Fillion, Please Cancel Castle.
And any
tirade.
excuse to bring up Whedon.
I've been actively trying to avoid it, alright? But then Alan Tudyk and David Boreanaz were both in the fucking news, so it's kind of difficult, alright? Next week.
What is Whedon working on?
That's interesting, we don't know.
If we find out next week, Castle's gone.
Whedon's secretly taken over that DC comedy.
That'd be fucking great.
That would be great, I'd watch it. I'd watch
That's
it
why.
anyway,
That's why
but-
Tudyk's there.
That's fine though, because Bones is ending. That would free up Boreanaz. It'd be funny if everyone who used to work with Whedon, all of their shows start ending at the same time.
All of a sudden, everybody's free and like,
Yeah, what's cooking? What's going on? Alright, next up, speaking of Fox, actually, they've got a new show that's going to start in May. May 2nd. It's called Houdini and Doyle, and it follows the adventures of, Houdini and Arthur Conan Doyle, who created Sherlock Holmes. And they're going to get together and solve crimes.
This is strange.
It is a bit strange, isn't it? But it says it's inspired by true events. I'm not sure how loosely they're having that phrase be, but
Well, technically they both existed, so
yeah, they both existed, so why not?
that's true events right there.
The series follows two great men of the 20th century and real-life friends, so they knew each other.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I guess that much is there. Harry Houdini, the master magician and escape artist, and paranormal debunker. Ooh, so it could be like Scooby-Doo, where they think it's paranormal, but then he comes in and is like, no.
I can already see where this show is going every episode. He
Arthur,
gets them into a mess, and then Houdini gets them out of it.
by escaping something.
Yeah.
Arthur Conan Doyle, obviously the writer and creator of Sherlock Holmes, and paranormal aficionado. You know what word I'm trying to say.
You give me shit.
Hey, at least I'm having trouble pronouncing it because it's an awkward word in my dialect. You said keeped on the video game podcast. Instead of saying kept, you said keeped. Anyway,
Moving on.
they grudgingly join forces with New Scotland Yard to investigate unsolved, inexplicable, and possibly supernatural crimes, alongside the first female constable of the London Metropolitan Police Force, Adelaide Stratton. I had to think about that name there. I was like, what the fuck do you say that? Adelaide.
I think what my question is are the cases that they cover going to be the ones that inspire Sherlock Holmes stories?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Because obviously it's public domain, so they can take what they want from Sherlock Holmes.
That's true. I don't know. This is going to have how many episodes did it say? I think it said 10 episodes, and I don't know. This could just be generic, case of the week trash, or it could be really fun. And
If it's only 10 episodes, it feels like maybe it could be a bit more than just that.
yeah, could be serialized.
I feel like if this was like 22, I'd assume straight off.
On the upside for us, though, if it is good, because we'll definitely cover the pilot, we can say that for certain, but if it's good, it gives us something to talk about over June and into a bit of July. So it gives us some summer viewing, which is nice, because we're always a bit anemic for shows once we get to the end of May. And this would still only be in its like third episode by that point, so that'd be nice. So that's Houdini and Doyle. Coming in May from Fox. And last up on the news, this news made me roll up my eyes a bit this week. Stephen King's The Mist is getting a TV show at Spike. They've ordered a pilot, and of course this was made into a movie in 2011, I want to say. Might have the year slightly off. But it was a very good movie. Very good. From the same director as Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. Very memorable. I recommend seeing it. It's a fantastic movie, actually. It's got a great ending. And I really still need for a remake of any kind. I'm not even sure how you stretch this out to a series. But they're doing it, so.
Does it say how many episodes?
No, they've ordered a pilot, so they don't even know.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I don't think.
Spike. I mean, what the hell is Spike doing at the minute?
Yeah, and Spike making scripted television makes me think it's going to be really low budget, unless they're trying to up their game.
Yeah, it's kind of it's worrying when it's Spike.
It's concerning.
It's funny that everybody's trying, though. You're starting to see more and more channels trying.
Yeah, I know. Like, what was... Oh, I've forgotten the channel now that Seth of Hell was on. What was that?
WeTV.
WeTV, there you go. No association with Nintendo Entertainment Systems, might I add.
Why do you know that? You should be ashamed of yourself.
And me?
Yes.
I remember things. I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
Occasionally I do. I remember pointless shit that I never actually want to know or need to know. And that happens to be one of them.
Yeah, but the word kept, that goes right out.
Look, my brain is too full of all this other useless shit, like knowing that WeTV made that piece of shit show.
Oh, dear. Don't get me wrong. Like, if it's good, then great, because I love a good, like, horror, science fiction-y story. I do. But, you know, the movie was based on a group of people being trapped inside a supermarket whilst all this shit's going on for the entire movie, basically, until the end and they try to get out and all so on. And how they deal with the situation, because, you know, this mist rolls into the town, and inside the mist there's monsters and shit, so if they go outside into the mist, they're probably likely dead, you know, so they have to stay trapped in the building, and they have to try and figure out what to do, so on. How you turn that into, I mean, at least 8 episodes, I would imagine, if not 10 or 13.
I mean, you can live in a supermarket for a long time.
Yeah, you can. I agree.
So you know, there's that going for it. So at least that's not unfeasible.
Yeah, but it's writing like 10 scripts set in a supermarket that were interesting. That I think is more the issue.
It is an issue. Yes. Apologies.
People are dying outside of Connor's house.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
Jesus, drunk people on a Saturday night in the UK. Don't want to mess with them.
Well, you know, it's a student building. That's not just Saturday nights. That's pretty much every night.
Very true. Very true. So, any thoughts, Mario? Have you seen The Mist? Did you like the movie?
No, I haven't seen it. I don't think I've seen it. I confuse that in The Fog.
I recommend it.
All the time.
The second Punisher was the main character in it. Thomas Jane.
I
think he was second.
Yes.
Yeah, because there was one in the 80s and then there was his in like 2004. Yeah, he was second.
Yeah, he was the second one.
Yeah, he's in it. And
Unsurprisingly, I haven't seen it.
yeah, you've not seen a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But it's a solid movie. I thoroughly recommend it. But what they'll do with a TV show, I do not know. But I guess we'll find out if it comes to series. Alright, okay, no thoughts on that, that's great. So, that wraps up the news for this week, and that will take us on to all the TV reviews. If you're on the audio version, they're just coming up next. Use the timestamps to skip to the ones you want, or if you want to avoid spoilers for other ones, just skip ahead, skip around, wherever you want to. If you're on YouTube, there's been links on the screen the entire time, just click on the ones that you want to watch, and that's that simple. So here's this week's batch of TV reviews.